And I'm back. I'm back now. In this segment, I want to talk about what is a hireling in comparison to those that will lay down their life for the sheep. The good shepherd and the hired help, the helping hand. All right. Now, with that being said, come with me to Big John, verse 7. Big John, verse 7, and let's see what Christ had to say about these things. Then Jesus said to them again, most assuredly, I say to you, I am the door of the sheep. All whoever came before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep did not hear them. I am the door. If anyone enters by me, he will be saved and will go in and out and find pasture. The thief does not come except to steal and to kill and to destroy. I have come that they may have life and that they may have it more abundantly. All right. So here it is. Christ is telling us anyone who don't come into the sheepfold through the pastor, through him is the thief and the robber. They come to kill, to steal, and destroy. All right. So clearly we see that he's speaking of the hired help. All right. He's talking about the hired help comes to kill, steal, and destroy. All right. Now, if they come in any other way, in other words, if they come in through means of witchcraft, if they come in through means of different organizations where they're taking secret oaths to get put in high positions, and they're coming in through different groups to gain favor into different positions, he's saying, oh no, they didn't come in through him. They came in through by some other means, through some other form, through favor of man, not favor of God. All right. Now let's continue reading and see what he's saying. 11. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd gives his life for the sheep, but a hireling, he who is not the shepherd, one who does not own the sheep, sees the wolf coming and leaves the sheep and flees. And the wolf catches the sheep and scatters them. The hireling flees because he is a hireling and does not care about the sheep. I am known by my own. All right. So what is Christ saying here? All right. He's talking about when they come in with these false doctrines and false heresies, and they want to come in with different things that don't line up with the word of God, and you saying, hey, and agreeing with it. No, you got to stand on truth. And so another thing is they see the wolf coming and fleeing. The true shepherd will lay down his life for a sheep. Okay. You got a lot of pastors and a lot of different shepherds that get offered more money at this church, and they'll leave this church and they'll go to that church because that church is paying them more. They might go to this church because this church has more benefits, or whatever the case may be. Is more about material gain than caring about the flock. Because if you truly love that flock, you're going to stay with that flock. If them other church buildings don't want to come together with this flock that I'm called to lay down my life for, then okay, they got to stay with whatever shepherd that they with. But I have to be true to love those that I'm with. All right. So people do it for different means of gain. Now, I'm not saying that all hired hands, because by the way, anybody who takes pay for work is a hireling. So most pastors are a hireling, but not most pastors are false teachers or false prophets. I'm not saying that. Well, I am saying that because most of them are. And when I say that, I mean more than 50%. All right. Are false teachers and false pastors. All right. But what I'm saying is some of them have sincere, genuine hearts of God. And some of them can be sincere, still be sincerely wrong. So what I'm saying is you have to use your spiritual discernment in these things. All right. My job is to point the sheep in the right direction. All right. My job is not to say, hey, oh, stop going to church, stop going here, stop going there. No, because that's where you're going to get the word at. My job is to open up your eyes and just don't be falling for anything, because sometimes you take your eyes off of God and start looking at the man. Don't do that. All right. Now, with that being said, 15, as the Father As the Father knows me, even so I know the Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep. And other sheep I have, which are not of this fold, them also I must bring, and they will hear my voice. And there will be one flock and one shepherd. Therefore, my Father loves me, because I lay down my life that I may take it up again. No one takes it from me, but I lay it down of myself. I have the power to lay it down, and I have the power to take it up. This command I have received from my Father. All right. So the true shepherd will lay down his life for the flock. Why would he do that? Because he has Christ really living inside of him. And he will lay down his life for his friend. All right. He will lay down his life. No greater love than this. All right. Now, it's not about the money. It's about the soul. Spend and be spent for that soul. All right. Now, winning souls to Christ is what matters. Winning souls back to God is what matters above all else. All right. Not the money. Now, with that being said, let's go and see what was the priest's problems back in the Old Testament when it came concerning the priests of Israel. All right. Come with me to Micah 8. Micah 8. All right. And let's see what's being said here. But truly, I am full of power by the Spirit of the Lord, and of justice and might, to declare to Jacob his transgression, and to Israel his sin. Now hear this. You heads of house of Jacob and rulers of the house of Israel, who abhor justice and pervert all equity, who builds up Zion with bloodshed and Jerusalem with iniquity. Her heads judges for a bribe, and her prophets divine for money. Her priests teach for pay. Her prophets divine for money, yet they lean on the Lord and say, no harm can come to us. All right. So they're using the Lord as they front. All right. They're using their Lord as a front to do their dirt and do all their wickedness and all of these things. All right. This is what the hireling does. All right. Everything is for pay. All right. Won't do nothing without pay. All right. Yes, indeed. Now, with that being said, let's go over here to 1 Corinthians. All right. 1 Corinthians, and see what a true shepherd of God's people mindset was. All right. What the true shepherd of God's people mindset was. For if I preach the gospel, 1 Corinthians 9:16. 1 Corinthians 9:16. For if I preach the gospel, I have nothing to boast of, for necessity is laid up upon me. Yes, woe is me if I do not preach the gospel. For if I do this willingly, I have a reward. But if against my will, I have been entrusted with the stewardship. All right. So if he did these things willingly, he had a reward. But if he didn't do them willingly, then he's just been entrusted with a stewardship. All right. Then when I preach the gospel, I may present the gospel of Christ without charge, that I may not abuse my authority in the gospel. All right. So what was Paul saying? Paul was saying, yeah, he could take a pay from the gospel, but he chose not to, because once money started coming in, it would conflict with the way he worshiped God, the genuineness, the sincerity of it, because money will become more part of the focus of the ministry. You don't want to split worship with money and with God, as we see a lot doing, in the habit of doing today in the churches. They treat Jesus like he was a lottery ticket. All right. So if you serving God for money, then God ain't your God. Money is. All right. So stop hiding behind God and stealing and taking from your greed. You extorting God's flock. All right. Now, with that being said, let's go on over here to Second Corinthians. Second Corinthians 12. All right. Second Corinthians 12. And let's come out of verse 14. All right. Let's see what the true man of God was doing when it came to finances. Now, for the third time, I am ready to come to you, and I will not be burdensome to you, for I do not seek yours, but you. For the children ought not to lay up for the parents, but the parents for the children. And I will very gladly spend and be spent for your souls. Though the more abundantly I love you, the less I am loved. All right. So what was Paul saying here? Paul was saying, look, whatever it's going to cost me to come to you, that's what I'm going to do. Whatever it's going to cost me to win them souls back to God, that's what I'm going to do. Paul states throughout the New Testament scriptures that he worked with his hands. He wasn't the lazy fella. He got up, got out there, and made things happen. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that all pastors are lazy, but most of them is. And when I say most, I mean more than 50%. Okay. Now, some of them have disabilities and disabled, and some of them is truly doing the work of the Lord to the best of their abilities. But most of them are lazy. Okay. And they look at the incomes of God as being a blessing. Well, which it is, but God does not give you all the money of the back of the poor and those that are in need for you to live and run around like royalties and live like kings. Why you got a whole world out here starving and dying and from all different diseases and really in need of help, while you sitting around getting your belly full, letting God be your belly, your God be your belly. All right. Now, with that being said, let's go over here to the book of Mark. All right. Book of Mark. And let's come out of verse 9 because there are some that runs after God with a sincere heart. All right. And not everybody enters into the sheepfold illegally. So let's see what he's speaking of when he says about a lot of these hirelings that has went into the sheepfold to teach, because he does allow them to do so. And let's see what happens, and let's see under what circumstances and what conditions are they able to do this. All right. Look at what he says, John 9:38. I'm sorry, Mark 9, verse 38. Now John answered, saying, Teacher, we saw someone who does not follow us casting out demons in your name, and we forbade him because he does not follow us. But Jesus said, do not forbid him, for no one who works a miracle in my name and soon afterward speak evil of me. All right. Can soon afterward speak evil of him. Look what he said. For he who is not against us is on our side. For whoever gives you a cup of water to drink in my name, because you belong to Christ, assuredly I say to you, he will by no means lose his reward. Now that's pretty awesome that God even allows those that comes in who have not even been a part of the disciples to still be able to obtain a reward from him. Oh, but we got to look at verse 42. All right. We got to look out verse 42 and see what happens if they don't stick to truth. What happens if they cause one of these little ones to stumble because they're not walking or standing in truth. All right, let's see what it says. But whoever causes one of these little ones who believe in me to stumble, it would be better for him if a milestone was hung around his neck and were thrown down into the sea than cause one of those little ones to stumble who come to Christ. So you got to be careful on what you're teaching. You have to teach the truth. If you're going to run after that money, you better run after God more, because you better have his truth. Because if you cause one of them little ones to stumble, you're going to be in trouble on the day you stand before him. Be in big trouble. All right. Do not be deceived. Run after the truth. Leave that money behind. Okay. Run after the truth, and the Lord will supply all your needs. All right. Now, with that being said, let's go over here to 2 Corinthians. All right. 2 Corinthians 2, verse 17. 2 Corinthians 2, verse 17. For we are not as so many peddling the word of God, but as of sincerity, but as from God, we speak in the sight of God and Christ. All right. So we don't peddle the word of God for a profit. We don't peddle the word of God to gain finances and materials. And if we do peddle it, what are we going to peddle it for? To win them souls back to God. All right. Love y'all. God bless y'all. I hope y'all received it. Blessings to you and your household. Once again, don't believe nothing I say. Study the scriptures for yourself. Like I always say, Paul commended the Bereans not because they just listened to him, but they also studied for themselves to find out if what he was saying was true. All right. Don't just listen to me. I need this to dwell in you. I need you to get it for yourself. I need you to get it in that word. I need you to get into that word and put it in your own spirit, because his words are spirit and they are life. And once they give birth in you, whoo, that soul gonna be on fire for the Lord. I love y'all. It's transforming. The word is transforming. And once it's in you and once it's inside of you, oh my goodness. All right. Thank you, beloved. I love y'all. God bless y'all. Until the next time. Peace and blessings to you.